James Harden has been shipped out of Houston after some recent comments, and we want to talk about everything. The Kyrie Irving things going on, the new Brooklyn Nets, how the Rockets did, team grades, all sorts of stuff. We're going to hit every single angle of this trade in today's video. Make sure if you enjoy daily NBA content, you subscribe because we're dropping that. But I don't want to talk about promotions, any of that stuff. I want to talk about this trade because this has got me fired up in the spirit to talk about the NBA. So we're going to go over the details of the trade first. Houston gets Victor Oladipo, Dante Exum, Ronda's Caruch, 3 unprotected firsts, a Cleveland 2022 first-round pick, 4 pick swaps, and a Pacers second-round pick. Obviously a ginormous load for Houston. They send out James Harden to the Brooklyn Nets. The Pacers get Caris LeVert, and the Cavs get Jared Allen and Taurean Prince. Those are the details in case you didn't know. I'm going to start off actually on the Kyrie Irving thing because in a way he plays into this trade. Obviously, the big talk is Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Kevin Durant. Does that work? On paper, it looks cool. I mean, yeah, they'll be incredibly bad defensively. And not only that, they shipped out the best defender, Jared Allen. But Kyrie Irving was seen maskless at his sister's birthday party, Schertzer's sister's birthday party. He was seen maskless. He already missed 3 games previously due to personal reasons. He is an absolute drama queen diva we've seen throughout his career. He's causing all sorts of just problems around the organization. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving came here as a duo. He's putting KD in a tough spot. He's healthy. He can play. He's just not playing. And at the end of the day, it's the worst thing for the Brooklyn Nets because we want to see KD get his legs back under him. We want to see that happen with Kyrie Irving. We want to see that duo mesh because they don't have a lot of time before the playoffs. It's a shortened season. You want to be full-blown going into the playoffs with an incredibly deep league this year. It really is an incredibly deep league, and you can't afford to start off the season 6-4 with Kyrie Irving missing like 3 or 4 games. You can't do that. So Kyrie Irving is going to come back whenever the league says he can come back at this point. He's forfeiting game checks. He's being an incredible drama queen, right? We see KD, obviously has been a drama queen known around the league. Ever since he left Oklahoma City, he's been very outspoken, and I didn't know if it'd work. Not even on paper, but just with the chemistry between Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. And now we're bringing in my opinion, the biggest drama queen in the league, James Harden. Every player he's played with, big star that is, they've left. At first, we thought it was Russell Westbrook. We figured out it's him. It's James Harden. And then last night, or 2 nights ago, he makes comments saying his own team just isn't good enough. He's given everything he can give to the city of Houston, which is true. But you don't say that. You're disrespecting the other 13, 14 guys in the locker room. Christian Wood's having an all-star type year. John Wall's playing back to John Wall standards. DeMarcus Cousins is getting his legs back. They're all playing up to their contracts except you, James. You're playing as bad as you've ever played in your Houston tenure. And you're doing it because you're just lazy and you don't want to be there. Fine. But you got to suck it up because you're getting paid $45 million to be there. You signed that contract, James. He's not there anymore. Obviously. I think that this could be a trade that was in the works for a long, long time. And that's simply because this is like essentially the same package we talked about the Nets giving Houston earlier in the season. The Nets didn't give up as much. They didn't give up Dinwiddie, which is great. There are 6 deep. But this is after the rumors. We thought that Brooklyn wouldn't want to pull this deal. And then after... it seems that James Harden is even more disgruntled last night. I'm surprised that Houston would pull this deal just out of the blue and be like, okay, we'll do it. I believe that this was in the works for a long time, maybe trying to get the Pacers on board to get Oladipo. I think that could have been a missing piece in there. Because obviously Oladipo's good. I want to talk about with the Rockets for a second. This video might be very, very messy, guys. I know that. But, you're going through these thoughts just as I am. Leave your comments below for sure who you think won the trade. Give me your trade grades, all this stuff. I'm replying to every single one. You guys already know. Houston now has John Wall, who we don't know what he's going to be after his injury. Obviously, it's been the first week, so he's looked pretty decent. But we don't know how his longevity will be. If he'll turn to prime John Wall, or maybe even just the shadow of that would be good. We don't know what Boogie Cousins will be. And now they're getting Victor Oladipo, right? Another guy with a big question mark, not nearly as big as those other two, but a big question mark. This is a year that could make or break his career, his future earnings, all sorts of stuff. So now you see this team, this Houston Rockets team, that's like the redemption squad, right? Like They all just came there, formed together as this team that wants to prove that they're back to the old them, which the old them, all three of them, all-stars, superstars, or stars, right? Dante Exum, Ronis Crooks, we don't care. Houston gets a load of first-round picks, all unprotected, and then they get 4 pick swaps, which will be helpful for them for sure. I think a lot of those will just end up being their own picks because I don't think Houston will be as good as Brooklyn. Even if that team doesn't work on paper, they're going to be a playoff team regardless, right? But getting, you know, at the end of the day, it's 4 real first-round picks. Getting Cleveland's pick next year, I don't see them being a playoff team next year with just how deep the league is, which teams are developing. You know, they're getting a few lottery picks, and depending on what James Harden does, remember he has this year and next year left on his deal. Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant are unpredictable. We don't know whether they'll force their way out or not. Those last 2 picks that they got, those unprotected ones, could be very, very valuable. In fact, some of those pick swaps, they could end up pick swapping up to like the 3rd or 4th pick, right? These are huge, huge assets. Not only that, they're getting a redemption player in Victor Oladipo that could be, if he revives his career, an awesome trade asset or a player to build around. The Cavs are getting Jared Allen. It puzzles me. I mean, I'm confused. They got another big man, like kind of like Drummond, I guess, like that can't stretch the floor whatsoever and is just gonna clog up the paint. Cool. They have like 3 of those guys now. You know, I don't really see what they gain. They take on another bad contract in Taurean Prince. Cool. The Pacers get LeVert pretty much for Victor Oladipo almost straight up. Good for them. They get younger. They get more consistency on the court. Like, we already know Chris LeVert's going to play. When he's healthy, he's not... We talked about earlier in the offseason that Victor Oladipo might not be happy to be there. So now they get Chris LeVert. He's a certified bucket. He probably fits in a little bit better with that team to be the centralized bucket getter now that TJ Warren's down. Obviously, the Nets get Harden, and that's what you guys came to hear. So with the Nets having Harden, their lineup would look something like fully healthy, right? We know Spencer Dinwiddie's out with his shoulder. Kyrie Irving, we don't know what the hell is happening with him, but here's what we do know, right? Is when they're fully healthy, that lineup looks like Kyrie, James Harden, Joe Harris, Kevin Durant, DeAndre Jordan, off the bench Spencer Dinwiddie, and a few other bums like Jeff Green and Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot, Bruce Brown. So they're really 6 deep at this point. And without Spencer Dinwiddie, they're 5 deep. They are a starting lineup team with no depth whatsoever, and we haven't seen a team like this work. We have 3 incredibly cancerous locker room personalities. Essentially no defense outside of DeAndre Jordan. Kevin Durant's a solid defender, but no defense outside of that on this team. I mean, they can shoot the ball really, really well. Running a 4-out, 1-in with DeAndre Jordan on offense, that team is going to be pretty ridiculous to stop if they share the ball. On defense, they're going to get ripped to shreds. In the locker room is going to be where their downfall is. This team's not going to work out. They're not going to work out. And sure, they're in title contention solely on the fact that if they do work out like they will on paper, this team is in title contention. Do I have them winning the title? Absolutely not. The last time... So, all the best championship teams have phenomenal defenses. The Warriors teams, last year's Lakers team, good defensive teams regardless, right? This team is not that team. And I say that you want a deeper team to win the championship, right? That's not necessarily you need that. You need a defense. You don't need a deep team. Because we saw the Lakers win with like 7 guys last year. And the Brooklyn Nets have what the Lakers had last year. Here's the only problem. Is Jeff Green or DeAndre Jordan going to stop Anthony Davis? Is Kevin Durant? Is Kyrie Irving? Is James Harden? Is Joe Harris? Any of those insanely lackluster defenders going to stop LeBron James, Dennis Schroeder, Kevin Durant, Montrezl Harrell? Are you guys going to stop them? I would drop a 50 piece on you, Brooklyn. My friends would drop 50 pieces on you, and we're not even good at basketball. You have no defense. You aren't deep enough. Bruce Brown's like your best defender, bench defender. When the Lakers now bench comes in, that's good because they expanded. They had 7 players. Now they have a 10-man rotation of good players. They only got better, and they just won the championship last year. You guys aren't beating Miami. You're not beating Boston. You're not beating Philly. You're not beating the Lakers or the Clippers. You're not beating the Bucks. You probably ain't even beating Indiana if we're coming down to a playoff series. You're not deep enough. You're not good on the defensive side. You have cancerous in the locker room. This is all going to blow up in 2 years. I promise you. Let me know your comments down below. This is highly debated. You guys might think that the Nets just secured their championship with this trade. You might just think that Houston kicked it into gear, pulled off the right trade. One more thing before I go. I want to say congratulations to whoever the Houston Rockets general manager is. He came in brand new, took over for Phil, had to fill in some of the biggest shoes in the president of basketball operations, Daryl Morey's role. He had to come in with these insanely high expectations, thrown in the fire with a disgruntled superstar, forcing his way out, being incredibly toxic, going to strip clubs, violating COVID protocols, and he handled it like a champ. And he got a good deal for James Harden. And at the end of the day, the Nets just threw themselves right back in the fire where they won't have any more first-round picks or players. I will see you guys in the next one. Make sure you leave your comments down below. I appreciate you guys all watching this pretty much Kyrie Irving and James Harden rant. And I'll see you in the next one, alright? Peace.